Here's what I will say is that this past year, I got to buy my mom a house back home in Kentucky.
So this is the first house she's owned?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you didn't give me the number, but needless to say, it's more than six figures.
I mean, dude, I've tripled, quadrupled, my income. So it's definitely been it's been life-changing.
All right, welcome to True Talk. Got a special guest with us today up from Nashville, Austin Marsh.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, dude. Thanks for coming up.
Yeah.
Thanks for showing up,
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
I don't know, keeping me at Mohegan Sun. I thought I had a little too much fun last night.
Did you gamble?
So I did.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I'm going to get $100 out of this ATM, and I'm not getting out. This is my only trip to the ATM.
Okay.
So, went to the blackjack table and then did roulette a little bit. Yeah.
You win anything?
I won a little bit, but then I walked away with nothing. So
that's usually what happens, right?
Yeah. So that's why one trip only to the ATM.
There you go.
That's it. Yeah.
Self-control, dude. Did you have fun losing your money?
It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
And it's kind of sad because I expected to.
Yeah.
But you don't expect to win. I actually expected to lose the money. And so, it wasn't
your mindset. You got to get that right.
Yeah. Plus, dude, I want to show up on time, get a good workout in this morning. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
So how long have you been with us selling life insurance now, Austin?
So I started selling life insurance May of 2023.
Okay. How old are you?
27.
27.
Yeah.
Prior to that, did you have a sales background?
Yeah. So I actually come from a background of selling books door to door.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of books?
So educational books.
Yeah.
So from books teaching little kids on how to read, all the way up to college prep material for high schoolers, and basically just about everything in between.
Got it.
Yeah. So
how'd you get into that?
Well, when I was 18. So when I was growing up, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
I always knew I wanted to do something great with my life. I remember even being in 7th grade and doing a book report on entrepreneurship.
In 7th grade?
In 7th grade.
How did you even know what entrepreneurship was in 7th grade?
What I did know is I wanted to be my own boss.
Okay.
That's all I knew.
Got it.
I also, growing up, my parents were super young. I mean, they had me when they were in their teens.
Okay.
And also my older sister too. So, I always knew I wanted to rise above the circumstances I was living in.
Yeah.
And I just found that being in business and entrepreneurship was kind of the key to that.
Yeah.
So when I was 18, one of my really good friends who had been gone that whole summer came home, and she was like, man, like, you got to hear about this program. Like, you can make really good money. You can build a lot of skills, build good character. Like, my sales manager is going to be in town. You should definitely come and hear about it.
Yeah.
And
Were you working at that time?
I was, I think I was serving.
Okay.
This was during the school year, but I was also playing college soccer.
Yeah.
So the summers were pretty open, and I thought, man, I need to do something with the summer.
Yeah.
Because every summer up until that point in high school, I was just being a lifeguard.
Got it.
Which is the best summer job as a high schooler.
Oh,
but
I bet.
when you're in college, it's probably good to get some experience going. So,
Right.
yeah, whenever I heard about selling books with Southwestern when I was 18, it was like fireworks.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, as cheesy as this sounds, I was like, man, if I can learn how to sell books door to door, and then maybe get to come back and recruit a couple friends and teach them how to do it, and then get to come back and teach, maybe 10 people, and then get to a leadership position where I can actually lead an organization of like 30 plus, then that's what I want to do.
Got it. What were you going to school for at that time?
So I was going to school for my first year of college. I was going to school for computer engineering. And this was totally a money decision.
Yeah.
My older sister graduated college. She was like, hey, if you want a good paying job after you graduate, like, go into tech.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, like, that's what I'll do. Cause you find a lot of college students graduate and they can't find entry level jobs.
Right.
So the ticket to that was like, well, if you can get a degree in computer science or IT or something like that, then you're going to be high demand. They're going to want to work with you once you graduate. So I did that, and then I transferred colleges. I went to the University of Kentucky after my freshman year, and then started studying IT. So I quickly realized after like 4 years of selling books, recruiting, training, and leading sales organizations that I probably wasn't going to be in IT. But
Got it.
yeah.
Did you like IT, or was it just purely because of how much money you were making selling books?
I grew to like it, just my classes, and I thought coding was cool. I thought the cybersecurity stuff was cool.
Yeah.
But when you're going door to door and you're sitting down with families, you kind of enter their bubble for a little bit. And anytime I ever got to sit down with an IT guy just at their own house, I'd always pick their brain. And it just was never the lifestyle I'd, want to live compared to when I knock on the entrepreneur's door who's running his own business, who's his own boss, whose kids are just freaking awesome kids that are self-disciplined and crushing in school and sports and just like a different quality of life. And I thought, man, like, how could I build all these skills and character and do what I've done the past 4 years and not continue to press into this?
How much did the way you were raised play into that desire to be an entrepreneur? Like you mentioned, your parents were really young when they had you, right?
Yeah.
Now, growing up, how many siblings did you have? So you had an older sister.
So I have an older sister, and then I have 2 younger sisters.
Okay.
So it played a huge part,
Yeah.
man. Like I was, my mom and my dad and my grandparents, I mean, they were great at just pouring into me and helping me create that vision for my life. And I always knew, I wanted to rise above and kind of outgrow those circumstances.
Yeah.
And when you're a kid, you don't really know how to do that. Most people tell you like, hey, just do good in school. And if you're in sports, do good in sports.
Right.
So I worked really hard in school. I worked really hard in sports. And I thought, man, if I can just focus on this, then I can get to college. And college was like the pinnacle for me because nobody in my family was going to college other than my sister and I. And then
so you and your sister were the first two that went to
like
college,
the first 2 that were going to college and getting a higher education and doing that. So when you're a kid, that's really all you're told. Like, hey, go to college and like you'll be set.
Yeah.
So that's just what I focused on. I focused on studying hard in school and made good grades. I played soccer, basketball, a bunch of sports growing up. So that's also something that just kept me around the right people and kind of teaching those principles from an early age. But man, I can credit a lot of that vision to my circumstances growing up for sure.
Because it's like, there's 2 things that happen when you grow up. Like I didn't have a lot growing up.
Yeah.
And what that usually leads to is a lot of people around you don't have a lot, right?
Totally.
And you see 2 different paths. One where the individual does exactly what their parents, their grandparents did, and they stay in that cycle. Or they look at it like, listen, I love my family, but I don't want to be there. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. You should want to do better, right? So it's funny because you can have kids from the same house, and it's like one's crazy successful, and one you're like, you're doing the same stuff that got us in that position. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like it's like a story where it's like, well, man, like, well, why don't you smoke?
Right.
And he's like, well, my dad was a lifelong smoker.
Exactly.
And then the opposite to that is like, well, he was a lifelong smoker, so I don't smoke. Yeah. So I totally understand that. Yeah.
And so, I mean, you started with the book deal. You're 18 years old, right? What was it like the first time going out there? Because you were door knocking. Was there any leads, anybody or you're literally just dropped off in a neighborhood?
Dude, this is one of the craziest, most awesome entrepreneurship programs in the freaking country, man. Like it's promoted towards college students, but it's really 18 to 22-year-olds. Okay. Where you go out of state for the summer. So my first summer I was in West Tennessee, close to like Jackson, Tennessee. Yeah. And you have there's definitely like a chain of command, like a leadership organizational hierarchy where people are returning and coming back for another summer and they're pouring into you, and then you have the organizational leaders. But we basically just hit doors in the territories that we get for the summer. And that summer was a combination between driving in the country and knocking on doors, farm to farm, going down gravel driveways, then to some more city-like. So it was definitely it was everything 18-year-old Austin ever needed. Yeah. It kicked my butt. It humbled me. Yeah. It showed me how to motivate myself, how to work through apathy, how to face rejection. Every no means next. Just all those little sales principles that are important, but also just so helpful for life. Yeah. And not giving up and just the resilience.
How much do you think your background in sports helped with that? Because one thing about sports is like all my kids play sports, and I love it because it teaches them a lot. It also teaches them how to lose.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're not going to win at everything. But it's what do you do after that, right?
Totally.
Do you cry? Do you go home? Like, do you quit or do you just get back? Like, how much did your athletic background help, do you think, getting into sales?
Yeah, it definitely helped. It's the easiest analogy, I think, for anybody in sales who played sports.
Yeah.
Like when I'm talking to my leaders or my guys now, and we talk about what it makes to build a championship level team, it's the same exact things that we talked about when I was on a soccer team or basketball team. It's like when there's one guy that's in the locker room who has lack of commitment, that crap spreads like wildfire.
Absolutely.
It's the same exact thing in the office.
100%.
So when we talk about those principles of, doing what you say you're going to do, finishing what you start, finishing strong, and those commitment types of principles, it's the exact same thing. So it's easy to relate to sports because you learn those things growing up, especially when you do grow up in circumstances where people are more likely to quit. People are likely to be victim of their circumstances.
Sure.
They are codependent on just about anyone else in the government to help them, live their life. It's like you can be placed into a team or a sport and surely learn those principles and those types of things that you might not be learning from home.
Right. Was there a lot of turnover with book sales? I mean, because it's you're cold knocking. Right? It's not easy.
Yeah.
I think sometimes agents here get spoiled with leads. Right. Like we'll talk about this later. Like when you first started calling on leads, because it's a different ball game, dude.
Totally.
Like they ask for something.
Yeah.
You're knocking on someone's door. They didn't ask you for a damn thing.
No.
And you're like, hey, I want to buy some books.
Yeah. Totally. How would I would explain this is like you're calling on leads and you're filling a need. When we were selling books and going door to door and sitting down with families, like we were just creating needs like left and right that might not have been there. They didn't know that was there until I knocked on their door.
Right.
Totally different ball game.
Yeah.
Obviously doing that for 6-7 years like helped me do what I'm doing right now. But doing that, I mean, that's just a different beast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like how many interactions, because obviously not everybody answers the door, but how many face-to-face interactions did you have in a day roughly?
So here's the schedule. So my first door knock of the day was 7:59 a.m.
Okay.
And my last door knock of the day was 9:31 p.m. So that's 80 hours a week for 12 to 14 weeks every summer.
Wow.
A big thing about this summer is coaching and teaching habits. So alarm clock goes off 5:59 a.m. Jump out of bed, and we're all taking cold showers. We're all hitting the breakfast spot, and we're all after breakfast we're all going to our turf.
Yeah.
So that's definitely not for everybody. To answer your question from before, about 3 out of 10 will quit this summer.
Yeah.
And it typically happens within the first 3 weeks.
Okay.
So the first 3 weeks of the summer, that's like our habit building phase.
Yeah.
If you can get past that, you're gonna probably finish the summer.
Got it.
Yeah.
So let's say you meet with 10 families.
Yeah.
How many of those typically would you actually sell books to?
So we would demonstrate the books to about 30 families a day. Okay. Out of the 30 that we demonstrated to, we would typically actually sit down and present like a 20 to 30 minute sales conversation.
Yeah.
Probably 10 to 15 times.
Okay.
So about half the
About
people
half.
you would demonstrate to, you would sit down with, and
Yeah.
about half that you'd sit down with, you'd on average maybe 2 or 3 families would buy.
Got it.
Yeah.
And in a once you got going in an average week, what would you take home?
I would say an average week towards some of my later summers would be closer to around like 5,000 to 7,000.
Okay.
Yeah, in a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad.
I mean, that for a summer job, no,
Not bad at all.
That's not bad.
But it's a grind.
I mean, you're working 80 hours a week. Do the
Right.
math on the hours. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it's no joke.
Yeah.
Especially then you're leading other people while you're out there. To also be the best versions of themselves and to teach them the things that you've gotten to learn too.
Yeah.
So
Now you started this in college, right? And you sold books until you were 26?
18 to 25.
25,
I think,
okay.
yeah.
And you're
I had
27.
just turned 26. So May of 2023,
Yeah.
I started life insurance,
Okay.
but I turned 26 end of February 26th.
Got
So
it.
it's a couple months later.
And it was, I guess, a very unique situation. It wasn't like you left that company looking for a job. The company you were at got into life insurance.
Yeah, exactly. So You know, when I mean, again, from 18 to 25, I mean, you're doing the same thing. And there was never a question whether or not I was going to continue to do it.
Okay.
When I did make that decision for that to be my last year, and I was like, well, man, what else is out there? I spent a good 5-6 months actually job interviewing, shadowing.
Oh, you did? So you didn't jump right into life insurance?
No, I didn't. Okay. I spent
what was it about that time where you decided, all right, I need to move on from this, or I want to?
So during that time, it's kind of like if you were at summer camp and you're going to summer camp every summer as a camper, and then you get invited back and you're a camp counselor, and then after camp counselor, you become senior camp counselor, and then you're like, okay, what else is out there other than this for the summer?
Got it.
So, but of course, I actually wasn't gonna leave or move on until I hit a certain threshold in that, because I just wanted to continue to build the skills and character it took to build my own business or to build a company or to do something cool afterwards.
Got it.
So just learning how to sell books was one thing, but learning how to lead and recruit and train was a whole nother monster that I was really excited about doing. That's why I stayed so long.
Okay.
It's because you can't put a price tag on that type of stuff.
Right.
So, I can't remember what you asked me before that, but
just what made you decide that, hey, now it's time to look for another job?
Yeah, for sure. So during that time period, I was interviewing with, a lot of other insurance companies. I was interviewing with Edward Jones, Raymond James, a lot of financial planning. Did some actually tapped back into the tech thing from college, and I went to go talk with Oracle and some other tech companies. But just nothing landed for me, man. I just couldn't see myself being another salesperson at a different company.
Yeah.
If that was the case, I probably would have just stayed and continued to do what I was doing.
So why leave to do the same thing I'm doing?
Exactly. Yeah. But so when Southwestern approached me about helping build a sister company, Southwestern Legacy, went down to Nashville to the headquarters over the course of a couple of days, talked about it, and it was like fireworks, man.
Did they know you were looking?
Yeah. It was more of hey, we heard you're leaving.
Yeah.
We'd really love to keep you around.
Got it.
And your name has been referred as somebody we'd really like to build this with.
Okay.
And so when I went down there, from somebody who wants to build, wants to create, wants to just do something awesome, and other than just be a salesperson, it was fireworks.
Right.
It was nobody else is really doing this. Oh, okay. People are probably going to say that this is a crazy idea. Oh, okay. Let's do it. It was the same reason why I decided to go sell books when I was 18. I didn't sell books when I was 18 because everybody else around me was going out and selling books. I did it because it was something that nobody else was willing to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it. How was that transition? Is it, like we talked about earlier, it's a completely different sale. And I've seen people come from cold calling, door knocking, and struggle with this because they still have that mentality of I need to sell them. And here it's every client, whatever leads you're calling on, we're dealing with clients that reached out and asked for information on life insurance.
For sure.
How was that early transition for you?
So it's definitely a huge step backwards. Totally. Whereas before, like I mentioned, we're creating needs. Yeah. Right? We're getting the whole family involved. We're eliminating distractions, and we're doing some of the most enthusiastic demonstrations. You know what I mean? Whereas this, you're contacting somebody who already has an interest in what you're selling. Right. You're filling a need. Yep. You know, that's really all you're doing. When I first started, my first 6 months of this, I knew before I wanted to recruit, bring on anybody else, I wanted to create a track record for other people to run on. Yep. And if I wanted any shot of recruiting any of my buddies who are crushing it in life, then I need to show them hey, dude, this is what I've done. Mm-hmm. These are the numbers. So that was pretty much step one. I went out to the field. That was a pretty natural the transition. I mean, from going door to door.
Were you in home with us?
I was in home from day one. I was in home. Okay. And that was a whole different feeling when you're calling on people and you get to their house and they're come on in. What? Right. Yeah, this is crazy. So I quickly kind of hit the ground running. I think my first week, I want to say maybe I signed up 4 or 5 people, but then the second week I signed up 15 people. Yeah. And then my third week I did over 20K. Got it. So it was something that I picked up on pretty quickly. Yeah. But one thing that really was interesting was when I was meeting with people in home, I you'd ask if they already had an insurance policy. Oh, did somebody stop by? Did somebody call you? And they're like, yeah, somebody called me. I picked up an insurance policy just over the phone. And I was like, man, that's kind of a crazy idea that I'm out here running around and somebody just called you probably from the comfort of their own office or home and sold you a policy. So that idea started to really land with me. And then during that time too, I was, I don't know if it was Schmitty or somebody else, but somebody gave me a really long list of these Zooms where I could just hop on and listen to other people dial, right? Well, one of the first Zooms I hopped on, it was probably my second week. I hopped on it and Freddie Madi Chow was on there. And it was just him. And I was like, what's up, dude? Like, my name's Austin, kind of introduced myself. And I was like, hey, man, like, do you mind if I listen to you? And he's like, dude, yeah. He's like, whatever you need. Whatever you need, man. So I got to be good friends with Freddie. And then maybe a week after that, Madison Pimentel hopped on. And then I got to be really good buddies with these guys. So, like, it was just us three on this Zoom. And then even I think my second month doing in-home, I reached out to Freddie and I was like, dude, what do you think about me coming and shadowing you? And he was like, yeah, dude, whatever you need. So I flew up to Boston, shadowed him in-home for a few days. It just totally changed my in-home.
Really?
Oh, man. Like,
what about that time changed? Like, what was he doing that you weren't doing yet?
Because I was still trying to create needs. I was still trying to be a sales guy. I was still trying to do more than I probably needed to. And he was just like in and out of houses like in 20, 30 minutes max.
How long was your average appointment?
Probably 45 to an hour.
Okay.
But once I seen him do it the first time, I was like, I got it.
Yeah.
I know exactly what I need to change. I know exactly how I can be quicker and more efficient. And that's just what it was. And so came back, and then that was really helpful for me. But at that time, Madison was doing full-time telesales. And so he'd always be like, dude, you got to make the transition. And I'm like, look, man, I'm going to do it. I just need to get some months under my belt in home. But once I get at least like 4 or 5 months under my belt, I'll make the switch over. So and at that time, that's where Maddie really started to take off.
Yeah.
So around the same time that I was thinking about making the transition over, Maddie was like cranking like 30K, 40K, 50K months. Yeah. And we all were like, what are you, what are you doing?
What were you selling at that time monthly?
Probably around 30 to 40.
30, okay.
Yeah. So, and I was good with that.
Yeah.
I mean, my idea in building the company was not to do this over the phone. It was to take people from a door-to-door background and transition them over to this in home.
Yeah.
But then, and when I made the switch, I pretty much gave myself a deadline. I'm like, okay, at the end of this month, this is going to be my last in-home month, and then I'm going to do it fully telesales. So when I did move the transition, Maddie helped me out. Freddie was making the transition too. We got to meet like Tom and Mel and some other guys that were kind of doing it as well.
Yeah.
But those first 2 weeks of doing telesales were hard. And I had just come off of like probably a 20K in-home week. Yeah. And I was like, dude, why am I doing this? Like, why am I switching up what I'm doing? Yeah. But I kept in mind, like, again, if we want to build this company, I have to learn how to do it all the ways.
Right.
In-home, over the phone. Like, it's not about me. It's more about the future and who we're going to continue
that's where it's going. Well, that's where it's at now.
It's where it's at. And so, but that third week of doing telesales, that was the best week I'd ever had up to that point. Period. And then that's when I knew I am never going back to the field. Like 32.
In 1 week.
Yeah.
Yeah. And prior to that, you were doing that, what, in a month?
In a month.
Yeah, which is still great.
So I was like, man, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And then I think even that same month, I had to do a little bit of traveling for family, got to see my grandpa in the hospital, but I was able to work in like a work schedule, doing it remotely, and then going and seeing him. So I was like, dude, this is stupid.
Yeah.
I can really genuinely do this from anywhere. I mean, could I go and buy leads somewhere else and work them in home? Sure. But it's not as convenient as just working it over the phone. It's a different job.
Two things. One, you said that first week you struggled.
Yeah.
Right. What was the biggest thing you struggled with on the phone?
So it was the first week I would definitely say tonality, because you don't have the body language.
Right.
You don't have you're not in person with them. And this is my thing, man. 7-8 years of being in home with people, and really focusing on tonality, because that's really all you got when you're on the phone. And so, and also getting used to just sitting in a chair all day, every day was different. But I found that, putting up like PGA golf up on the TV in the background, something you don't have to listen to, but you can kind of watch as you're like working, was really helpful. And then having the Zoom open, with Freddie and Maddie
huge.
and Melvin and Tom and just the whole gang.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's something that you can't replicate in home. Now, I came from in home. I got out of the field long before there was telesales, but it was, go out, do your deal, and then call someone and talk about what happened.
Yeah.
It was no live feed of what's going on in the home. And now with Zoom rooms, you guys have that, which is insane.
Well, here's what I'll tell you what it's truly done for us. Previously, if I wanted to go job shadow somebody, I was, catching a flight or driving somewhere really far to go do that, sacrificing an entire day of sales for me.
Right.
Okay, so now we have an office in Nashville with over 30 plus guys who are all, and all of our top producers are all in one place. I mean, nothing we do, we don't gatekeep anything. If you want to come and listen to me, who I'm, going to write 30, 40, 50 plus K months, you can come do that. We've had 2 agents this year write over 80K, have over 80K months. If you want to go listen on their conversations, you can go and do that. And so the convenience and the style that we're able to train and operate in now is so much more efficient than trying to run this business at home. It doesn't even match up. And so rubbing elbows with the guys, being all in person, the camaraderie, the energy, the connectivity that we all have with one another, it's just a no-brainer now. So
let's talk about the money, Austin. So prior to this, selling books, do you know what your best year income was?
I want to say my last 2 years between personal production and team pay, leadership pay, I would say I finally hit the 6-figure threshold.
At the time, how'd you feel?
Oh, that was amazing. Yeah, that was amazing. That was a big reason on why I wanted to continue to nurture and train and recruit once I graduated.
Yeah.
Was because at that time, if I was going to go take an entry-level IT job, I probably would have been taking a pay cut.
Absolutely.
So going and continuing to build the business those couple of years after, that was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And so that felt awesome. Yeah.
Now let's talk about last year, right? 2024, you sold personally 634,000. So Hall of Fame and then some, right? You got your red jacket.
Yeah.
Agency 1.3. Yeah. What do you know? What did you gross? What did you net last year?
So here's what I will say is that this past year, I got to buy my mom a house back home in Kentucky, which is just on the bucket list. I mean, she's been living apartment to apartment, and she had some crazy stipulations on a 2-year minimum if she wanted to re-sign on the apartment. So
this is the first house she's owned?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
she just, man, she just sent me a video the other day of her mowing the lawn.
Yeah.
And she was just so happy to have a lawn to mow. So cool. So bought my mom a house. I had a goal of wanting to double my savings account last year. I got to 10x my savings account.
Yeah.
Right now I'm in the process of looking at buying a home in Nashville and then looking at buying an apartment in Columbia.
Yeah.
Actually, where my family is. So things have definitely
not Columbia, South Carolina.
Yeah,
Columbia,
no.
the country.
Yeah, Columbia, Bogota, Columbia. So things have definitely been on the up.
Got it.
And praise God, it's been an amazing journey, and I'm also just in the crevices and the depths of my finances, and have a strong financial team in my corner now to make sure I'm making the right decisions too. So
you didn't give me the number, but needless to say, it's more than 6 figures.
I mean, dude, I've tripled, quadrupled, my income. So it's definitely been it's been life changing.
Absolutely, that's awesome. Now, when you were selling books, were there any expenses? Did you have to buy the books to sell, or?
So most of the expenses just in the summer were just gas.
Gas,
yeah, just gas. I mean, you had to buy permits, weekly groceries,
but no inventory of.
No, nothing like that. Yeah, it was the biggest expense would have been gas, but even in the summer, since you want to take home and as much money as you can, you're just living super frugal all summer long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was it making that adjustment to buying leads? That's always not always, but a lot of times a stumbling block, a speed bump for a lot of new agents, right?
Yeah, for sure. So I'd come in, that year I went into this business with some money.
Okay.
So, as far as we have a lot of different alternative options for people that don't have the money to buy the leads right off the rip, that really kind of help, I guess, massage their way into the business to get to that point. But I was, willing to lose it all. Like I was at a point where I understood at this point in time that, investing in yourself, investing in the business is going to give you an amazing ROI. I understood that. And so I was just, watching, hundreds of hours of YouTube videos, connecting with people around Nashville, networking with people on Facebook, just like, dude, somebody just give me some guidance. And so, when I first started buying leads was dropping even $1,000 in a week was like, dang, like this is kind of crazy.
It's different.
This is a little bit different. But and now like I will again kind of just continue to have that same mentality of like, dude, I'll lose it all if it means to get to a point where I can have an ROI. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
We have an agent of the week every week, right?
Okay.
So we have, God knows how many agents. Last year, I think 20,000 agents were paid on an individual policy. Obviously, not everyone's selling what you're selling, but we have a agent from FFL Wolfpack, Michael Gabriel. I got a testimonial here. He's had his best month ever this past month, issued 70,000 last month. So phenomenal numbers.
Wow. Great job,
absolutely.
Man. That is awesome.
All right, let's see what Michael Gabriel has to say.
I've been in the business for about 7 months, and truthfully, all I've really done different, I feel like, is keeping everything consistent as far as not only what I do at work, but also what I spend on leads, when I buy leads, and also, most importantly, what I do outside of work. I wake up at the same time every day. I do the same activities after work. I keep every single thing consistent, and I also work on Sundays. For the most part, almost every single Sunday I have worked. So being able to be that consistent with everything else is always going to lead to being able to consistently produce at a high level, and every day that you work hard is always going to roll into the next day. So taking days off has always been a big no for me. A day off will lead to an inconsistency the next day. And that's what I feel that I've done different.
Consistency.
Yeah, awesome stuff.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And it will make or break you, right? Like that whole buying leads every single week. It's, a lot of times with newer agents, you run into this, like, I spent $1,000 on leads. It's a lot. I made 2,000 back. Well, but I still got some leads, Austin. I don't need new leads. I'm still going to use, but whatever you did last week, do again this week. How important is consistency in what you're doing? Yeah.
Habits. We preach habits.
Yeah.
That we are all creatures of habits. It takes 21 days to form a habit. And if you miss one of those days, you got to restart.
Right.
So consistency is so important when you want to do something great. If you want to do something temporarily, or if you want to, dip your toes into something, we don't need to talk about consistency.
Right.
But if you want to do something great with your life and great with your business, then consistency is so important. One of the biggest pieces of advice that I give to some of our new sales guys, or just new salespeople in general, is don't get discouraged early. Like I see some guys that'll come in their first week, their first month, their first 6 months that are like, it just didn't work out. Whereas like somebody that comes from a business or a sales background going into this, they understand, man, that there's a learning curve to anything that you're going to do.
Right.
Like the veteran salesperson, his emotions aren't going up and down week to week, no matter what the results are. As long as he is putting in the hours, putting in the calls, and keeping a good attitude, like he's going to be fine. There's weeks where I crush and they feel great, and it's like I got to help out so many families, and there's other weeks where it doesn't seem that way.
Right.
But nothing changes about my schedule, nothing changes about my attitude, and nothing changes about my work ethic. Because I never look at the days. Sometimes I don't even really look at the weeks. I look at the months. I look at the quarters.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you're going to have up days and down days. You're going to have up weeks and down weeks. You're going to have up months and down months. You're going to have up quarters and down quarters. And guess what? You'll have up years and down years. Welcome to sales.
Right. Yeah.
Welcome to sales. It's going to happen.
And the big thing is, in any business you're in, life in general, is focus on the things you can control, right? You can't control who's on the other end of that phone.
Yeah.
But like Michael said, your schedule, you can control. You can control what days you're working, what days you're not.
Absolutely.
And I think that a lot of times we let distractions get in, right? Well,
Yeah.
but my buddy's having a cookout on Saturday. Yeah, I know, but you're not at your sales goal yet. Like, what's more important right
Yeah.
now? We're not saying you're never going to go to a cookout for the rest of your life.
For
But
sure.
right now, let's focus on these first few years. Let's sell out. Let's put in massive activity now so that
Totally.
in the future we can enjoy it.
Yeah, totally. And that, I think that goes back to, some people have just a different idea of what success means.
Right.
And I make it really plain and simple. Success to me is doing your best.
Okay.
Success is doing your best. And what is doing your best? Doing your best is controlling the controllables. What are the controllables? Your hours, your activity, and your attitude. Okay. And what does that allow you to do? That allows you to accept your circumstances
Right.
and live with peace.
Yeah.
And accept that sometimes it will happen, sometimes it won't happen, but nothing's going to change the way that I'm able to operate as long as I'm doing my job day in and day out, plowing the field. It always works out. That's success. You know, there's times in life that you're going to get hit with some crazy stuff in life and circumstances that you never imagined.
Yep.
What does success look like then? Well, success looks like doing your best.
Right.
And your best is going to look different at different periods of life.
You talk about controlling the attitude and the veteran salesman being here.
Yeah.
It's a lot different where you were at before, where you're dealing with that much rejection, right?
Yeah.
When you were doing that, cold knocking, whatever you want to call it, how did you stay even keel when you went on a streak where, you knocked on 5 doors in a row and didn't sell anything? Like, how did you stay here?
Totally. Positive affirmations, self-talk.
Yeah.
Self-talk is what you say to yourself about yourself all day long. And that can be positive, but that can also be really negative.
Right.
Because the battle is between your 2 ears. It's in your mind. So positive affirmations are so important, in the culture of what we're building. When I was knocking doors, I would always say, okay, no means next. No means next. I'd say, what you're someday going to be, you are now becoming. What you're someday going to be, you are now becoming. Every answer lies behind the next door. These are all the things that Southwestern taught me when I was 18 and on. And I would say these things out loud to myself, because saying them out loud, it stops that thought pattern.
Right.
Just when you're thinking, I can't, I want to give up, it's like saying, like, no, I can, I will, I must, out loud. Like, it really does help.
Yeah.
I mean, it's everything. And I actually, just to go a little bit deeper with it, like, a big part of why I decided to sell books was because I wanted to learn how to control my emotions. My parents, both of them actually, had a lot of anxiety. I mean, they're young parents. I mean, a lot of stuff going on when you're a young parent and a lot of stuff. But we kind of grew up in that, And I was like, man, I'm probably going to fall guilty of this if I don't work on that stuff now. And we truly become who we are between the ages of 18 and 22. And I thought, man, if I can learn how to control my emotions, if I can learn how to motivate myself, work through apathy, have like a process when crap hits the fan on how I'm going to respond to it, then I can do anything. Right. And so learning how to do that and work through those types of things whenever I was in college and those years, I mean, that probably saved my life in a couple of situations.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. And it feels weird when you're sitting there talking to yourself at first. Like, I'll never forget, Austin, the first day I ever dialed on leads. I was at my house by myself. Sean sent me some leads. These were the good leads.
Yeah.
They were like a batch of stuff. People called on 10 times over. I dialed maybe 10, 15 times. And I remember Sean was like, hey, dial through the leads, call me, and let me know how you make out. And so I'm thinking, I got these objections. I'm going to call Sean. He's going to tell me what to say. Then I'm going to go, because it's not me. It's the client with the objection, right? Yeah. So he goes, here's what I want you to do. Go to your bathroom. You got a mirror in your bathroom? Like, yeah. He said, take the leads, hold them up in front of the mirror, and tell yourself that you book everyone you speak to. Tell yourself that they asked you for their help. I'm like, no, seriously? He's like, no, go do that. I'm like, okay. But then it started this like self-talk. And then I remember driving to the office to dial every Saturday morning. I would have my leads on my front seat, and I would be telling myself that on my way to the office. And that's where it starts. Now, you still got to put in the work. You still got to get better at what you do, but it starts with this.
Totally. It does.
And that's this whole business.
Yeah, it does. And even, when I'm on the phone with clients, or even when I was in person and in home with people, you can feel greed and those things kind of settle in. And so it's even so important to protect your mind when you're in front of somebody talking to them, because you know in ways you can help serve them, and you know in ways that you can't, and it serves yourself.
Sure.
So even when I'm talking to somebody, as weird as this might sound, I will say in my mind, I love you, I love you, I love you. Like, I love this person. I love you. The second I start feeling any greediness, the second I start feeling like I'm more serving myself than them, I just, in my mind, I'm like, I love you. I will just say that over and over again. And I know it sounds weird, but it helps me focus on them and stay at service and just continue to do the job the way I know it. That's important.
I think it's one of the best things about what we do is the money's a byproduct for actually helping people.
Totally.
Right? There's a lot of sales industry. I mean, even car sales. Like, dude, if I go to the lot, I'm 9 times out of 10, I'm driving to the lot in a car I already own.
Totally.
If I don't buy a new car today, it's not going to change my life dramatically.
Yeah.
Our clients, a lot of times, if we meet with them, they're not going to meet with somebody else.
Yeah.
So that's that one shot we have. And if they don't buy what we're selling, when they do, when they do pass, their family's screwed. Yeah. Most of our clients.
Totally.
Most of our clients are not wealthy.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been doing this for a few years now. It's a lot of middle class, lower incomes. Like,
totally.
And if they don't, it could be a $10,000, $20,000, $200,000 policy.
Yeah.
If they don't have that when that person passes, these families are impacted for generations.
Yeah, for sure.
Have you dealt with any death claims since you've been selling life
insurance? And that's part of the conviction when I'm talking to somebody about what we get to do. Yeah. It's like, man, this isn't selling solar door to door. This isn't selling cars. Like, you get to make an insane impact. And actually, whenever I did start to open up the door to start to interview and bring on new guys, one of the first guys I brought on, his name's Logan Merritt. He sold books with me, he sold books for a couple years. Okay. And then he went on to go do solar. I caught wind that he was moving on, and he came to come to shadow me in the field. And after I helped get this lady a policy, I just asked her, I said, well, how does it feel to finally get that taken care of? And her answer to that question was what sold him on selling life insurance, going from solar to this.
What'd she say?
She was like, Austin, like, I can be at peace. She's like, if something happens to me, I at least know that my daughter's going to be taken care of. Right. You know, something along those lines. Yeah. And man, like, we even will create video montages of some of our agents who will ask that question, get them on speakerphone just to hear it so we can show people what we do. Because, I mean, that's the impact. Right. You know, it's like, man, Austin, like, thank you so much that I don't have to go to sleep tonight worrying that if something were to happen to me, that my family, you know, would be screwed. Like, I'm in a position now where, you know, if something were to happen to me, like, everybody's going to be taken care of. Mm-hmm. And I mean, man, if that doesn't get you excited about serving people, like, I don't know what does. Right. So yeah, it's so different from just being another salesman at another company. Correct. And you're like actually making an impact. And then I always follow that question up with, well, how did I do? Did I do okay today? Oh, Austin, you were the best. Thank you so much. Blah, 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 blah. You know, just kind of solidifying it. Like, hey, I'm your guy. Yeah. You know, if you need anything at all, give me a call. Right. So, yeah.
Love it. Well, we're going to wrap up with a couple games here, Austin. Okay. You ever played a game called Would You Rather?
Yeah, okay. I have.
Well, we're going to do a little bit of that. All right. So it's pretty simple. I'm going to just throw some random statements at you, and you're going to let me know which one you'd rather do. So,
okay. Sounds good.
All right. Let's go. Let's see. Would you rather have a client say, I'll think about it, or I have coverage through work?
I would rather have them say, I think about it.
Okay. Would you rather get rejected 50 times in a row, or go work a 9-to-5 job for a week?
50 times in a row, every time.
Would you rather build someone else's dream for 40 years or sell out for 2 to 3 years to build your own?
Sell out, dude. 10 years of selling out. Yeah, absolutely.
And then last one, stay with me on this one. Would you rather never get a charge back again, but you can't recruit, or build a massive agency, but 30% of your business falls off the books?
Build a massive agency for sure. Like, this job, it satisfies to an extent, but like, dude, to like the deepest parts of my heart, the crevices of my heart, like recruiting, building, and the relationship part to this job, that's what satisfies me. So I would take recruiting and building a
Yeah.
massive agency
Got
over
it.
that. Yeah.
Why does that satisfy you?
I mean, it's cool to get recognized. It's cool to have little wins and get to share your experience or get to go on stage and get cool jackets. But dude, that's only cool for like a couple minutes.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, what are you going to do next year? Like 5 minutes after you won. And
Right.
it's like, it just doesn't satisfy. It just
Yeah.
doesn't, you know? But when I get to be a part of, even just have like a small hand in somebody's journey where they come from nothing, you know, thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, and can come here and with hard work and a good attitude, like totally climb themselves out of hell and see the light of day. And man, we have so many testimonies and so many cool stories now of some of our guys who have done some stuff like that.
Right.
That's what satisfies.
Yeah.
That's what satisfies me. So,
And it's like, you know, we're just scratching the surface.
yeah.
I said we had maybe 20,000 agents that got paid last year. There's now licensed agents in the country, it's a couple million.
Wow.
How many salespeople do you think are out there though that are at a place, you know, selling solar, selling something where they're not making money, right? They're being sold a dream. Hey, one day you'll be rich. Just keep going out there. You know, how many of those people are out there that don't have a deal like this where they can truly make whatever they want as long as they're willing to put in the work, as long as they actually care about the client. That's a huge part of it too, right?
Yeah.
All right, last game, Austin.
Cool.
True or false? This one's pretty simple. I'm gonna throw some statements at you. Let me know in your opinion if they're true or false. Okay. All right. You need a high school degree to sell life insurance.
False.
False. If you ever eat at McDonald's, you should get life insurance today.
That's true.
Yeah. If you've been declined in the past, you can never get coverage again.
False.
Some of the best clients are the most difficult ones to sell.
So true.
Most people fail in sales because they quit too early.
So true.
You can close deals from your phone without ever meeting a client.
True.
Cold calling is easy.
It becomes true.
Okay, becomes true. All right. How about this one? Cold calling is easier than dialing off of leads.
False.
False.
I'd say
Okay.
false, yeah.
And then last but not least, you have to wait until you're 40, miserable, and in corporate burnout before you can try this.
Okay. False.
False. No, you can start at any time.
Big false, yeah.
Big false. Well, hey, dude, I appreciate you coming up.
Yeah, man.
Taking time out to do this with us here, and appreciate all you guys watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. We have annual convention coming up in a few months. Were you at the event last year?
Yeah.
Yeah. How was that?
It was awesome, man.
Yeah.
My first two guys I got to bring into this, I told them, I said, hey, at the end of this year, we're all three going to win these red jackets.
Nice.
And they had no idea what I was talking about.
Yeah.
But then when we got there, they're like, oh, yeah. So us three all hit Hall of Fame.
So there's three of you in Hall of Fame last year.
Yeah.
How many are you going to have at the end of this year?
At least 10.
At least 10.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
At least 10.
Just looking at projections, it's getting close to like 200 projected for Hall ofAme. It's insane.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. We'll be a big percent of that down the road. So
Good.
Yeah,
Awesome. Well, thanks again for coming
Yeah,
up.
thanks, Mike.
Guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. You know where to find us every week right here on True Talk. We'll see you next week.